past decade was criticized by many music critics because of the lack of inspiration in music, with so many keyboards, drum machines, computers. What is your opinion about it?
Well, you know, I mean, I think critics have always got to have something to criticize, and I think probably it wasn't as strong musically as a decade like as the 60s, because it was all beginning in the 60s, for us anyway, you know, the kind of British thing. But I think there's a lot of good stuff to come out of the 80s. I think some good new bands. I think U2, Simple Minds, people like that, Dire Straits. All the bands that could play, you know, there was still some good music around. The computer and the rhythm machines and things like that, that's just technology, you know. It's the same problem as you get a television set and you don't know how to turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where the channel switch is, and if you lose the little remote, you're done, you know. It's like something to criticize about progress, but I don't know, you know, I still think there were plenty of good records around. I think for the young kids, I think there's pretty good stuff, pretty good dance stuff. There's the arrival of rap, you know, which is fairly cool. You like that kind of thing? I think there was plenty of good music, really.
Paul, how did you feel writing with Elvis Costello after making so many great songs with John Lennon?
Well, I don't think anyone can take the place of John, you know, because John was, in his own words, I think he said, if there is such a thing as a genius, I am one. And, you know, so I think I think he was, you know. So he's a pretty hard act to follow for anyone. You know, it's not the same as writing with John because his juice was so good. But it was good fun writing with Elvis. There's certain similarities, you know. He's got a very strong opinion, like John had. You know, if he doesn't like a thing, he'll tell you. So not everyone will do that. Some people will just sort of say, oh yeah, that's fine, you know. When they get home, they go, God, it was terrible. But at least we had a good, honest working relationship. So it was a pleasure. We wrote 9 songs together, 4 of which made it to the album.
So now you're planning to do a tour also for some other parts of America and probably going to South America.
Going to South America?
Yeah, which is, yeah, you know a little bit of Spanish? Or?
I know a bit of Spanish, but no Portuguese, which...
Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
Español, amigo. Hey, hablámonos español. Tres conejos en un árbol, tocando el tambor. Que sí, que no lo he visto yo.
Oh, that was great. Where did you learn that?
En la escuela.
Oh, you took Spanish lessons then?
Sure, when I was 11 years old.
Great.
It's crazy. Everyone else in the school learned French.
And you took Spanish?
I learned Spanish.
That's cool. That was peculiar. Always ahead of time.
That's it, yeah. I just like it, you know, I like the language Spanish.
Well, the last one. Looking back to the Beatles, how can you define what you were for music, not for music only, for the world itself?
I think for, when you're not talking about the music, I think we were the spokesman. A lot of people think we started it. But we didn't start it. It was started already. It was a movement. It's like in East Germany now. It's a movement, you know, and in the 60s there was a movement like that, where kids were growing up and they're a little bit fed up with war, for one thing, you know, especially American kids were fed up with Vietnam War because they were having to go. Friends of ours were like being shipped off, you know, and you didn't see them again, some of them. So people wanted change. We just voiced that change. We put words to it, and we put music to those words. So we just said, all we need is love. You know, we said, give peace a chance, what John did. And we just said what we thought and what we knew all our friends thought, which was that, you know, the world needs improving. You know, they've got to manage it better. And musically, I think we gave a lot of kids the feeling that maybe they could do it. When they saw us, you know, a lot of people got inspired. I mean, I know, for instance, I talked to Lionel Richie, and he said, oh man, he said, we used to have a garage band. He said, and I was you. He said, we used to just play broomsticks, you know, I was you, Paul. So, you know, there was a lot of that. A lot of people became like me, or John, or George, and the drummers all became Ringo. And I think it spawned a lot of good music. A lot of American bands suddenly started to think, hey, you know, we don't have to do it as it's always been done. We can change things. And I think, you know, we wanted to change the world for the better. I think change is a very slow thing. You're only now starting to see it, 20 years later. You start to see it now, though, with the ecology movement, and with a lot of movements, you know, that I think are happening and hopefully will continue into the 90s.
So this reunion with George and Ringo, do you think that will help to start something else again?
There's a film that we're going to get involved in that would be the kind of Beatles story, you know. And it'll take a long time to do, so, you know, don't look for it in the cinemas soon, like it'll take forever. But maybe in making that, we might be able to do some new music. So we'll start there and see what happens.
Paul, thanks a lot, really, from Argentina and from all Latin America.
Okay, vaya con Dios, amigos. Hey, thank you. All right. See. Adios.